It's now been proved that the Mumbai attacks were directly ordered by Pakistan, and that the Al Qaeda was involved in their planning. This was placed in the Financial Times and several other publications. But if the Pakistanis can strike at the New Delhi Parliament, and they can strike with stay-behind groups, which is what Al Qaeda is in effect by proxy, a stay-behind group, just as Gladio was a stay-behind groups in the 1970s in Europe, which was infiltrated by the mafia, incidentally. Then what is the Indian strategy in response? Well, the Indian strategy in response is to have their own stay-behind groups and to reorganise their military into 8 divisions of combined arms. Now, this is what's frightening the Pakistanis, because at present India keeps most of its troops in the centre of its country, away from Pakistani abilities of nuclear abilities to strike at them. But if the Indians have a stay-behind capability, that is, groups of men and women who are integrated into Pakistani society to take out the infrastructure and do sabotage within Pakistan, to be like a Trojan horse for armoured and helicopter divisions and paratroopers to link up with them in the centre of Pakistan and cause havoc, which would be just enough to be embarrassing to the Pakistanis, but not enough that would be an existential threat that would harm Pakistan's existence, which would thus mean that the Pakistanis would use their nuclear weapons, or rather the Binladens would use their nuclear weapons on India. The indirect stay-behind route for the Pakistanis would of course be to give the Al Qaeda nuclear weapons directly, but there the Bin Ladens would be losing their bargaining chip over the West, because of course arms sales to both China and the United States are selling arms to Pakistan as allies. They have a mutual ally in Pakistan, and yet Pakistan is run by the Bin Ladens through their proxy, the ISI. The military in Pakistan thus has always been in charge, and as the assassination of Benazir Bhutto showed, they're not willing to leave this grasp of the country to democracy. Rather, they would rather be in cahoots with the Bin Laden crime family to govern Pakistan as an Islamic state. But with the Obama's visit and his declaration of friendship and declaration of investment to the tune of $10 billion with India, it is clear that the United States may not be an ally of Pakistan for long. It may be that the interesting interplay and disturbing interplay between China and Al Qaeda in Pakistan may be drawing Pakistan further and further towards the Shanghai Cooperation Organization run by China and Russia. Now, I'm not saying that China and Al Qaeda are not enemies. They are enemies, and it will be interesting to see what China's reaction will be to the Bin Laden's attempt to control Pakistan. But with India being invested in by the United States, who will come out as top dog? Certainly the Indians would like to see it have the Indian Ocean as their lake rather than the Americans' lake, but in geopolitical terms. But how can they do this when China has the second largest navy in the world? With Prime Minister Singh's rational approach to currency markets and the global power plays between China and the United States, spoken about in my video Financial Times, my Financial Times series, is clear that the Indians are trying to take a very rational and not be provoked by Pakistan, and this is good because it's shown that they are a responsible caretaker of the power that they have. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But what we can see is that India is an emerging superpower. And while it is rearming, it's to the teeth, as China is. Is Europe sleeping? That will be the subject of my next video, Europe versus Asia's Deadly Triangle. Thank you for listening.